There are nights when the weight of life feels heavier than words can explain. You lie awake, carrying burdens that nobody else can see, replaying disappointments that nobody else understands, and wondering why your path seems marked by so many struggles, while others appear to move through life with far less resistance. If that feeling has followed you for years, if you have often felt that your journey has demanded more sacrifice, more patience, more endurance and more tears than the journeys of those around you, then you are not alone in that experience. Many people who carry a deep sense of purpose eventually find themselves asking why their lives seem to involve such intense seasons of testing. They are not seeking pity. They are not trying to compare their pain to someone else's. They simply recognize a pattern. They notice that while others seem to receive support, they often receive lessons. While others find comfort, they find growth through difficulty. While others are applauded, they are often overlooked. The truth is that some people spend years developing a strength they never asked for because life continually demanded it from them. They become experts at surviving storms because storms arrived again and again. They learn how to keep moving forward even when their hearts are tired, because stopping was never truly an option. If this describes you, then perhaps one of the most important things you need to hear today is that your suffering does not mean you were forgotten. Your struggles do not mean you were abandoned. Your difficult seasons do not mean there is something wrong with you. In fact, many of the qualities that make you valuable were forged in the very experiences that nearly broke you. The chosen often suffer more because they feel more deeply. They notice what others ignore. They carry concerns that others dismiss. They think about purpose when others think only about comfort. They care about meaning when others are satisfied with distraction. This deeper awareness can become both a gift and a burden. It allows you to see beauty where others see nothing, but it also causes you to feel pain that others never notice. There have likely been moments when you entered a room full of people and still felt completely alone. Not because nobody was physically present, but because nobody truly understood what was happening inside your heart. You smiled while carrying grief. You encouraged others while silently battling discouragement. You showed kindness while healing from wounds nobody knew existed. Your kindness cost you more than most people will ever understand. Many of the people around you only saw the calm surface. They never saw the storms beneath it. They never saw the nights when you questioned yourself. They never saw the tears you wiped away before facing the world again. They never saw the courage it took just to keep going. Yet God saw every moment. God saw the prayers spoken in silence. God saw the disappointments that crushed your expectations. God saw the doors that closed without explanation. God saw the relationships that ended despite your best efforts. God saw the opportunities that slipped away when you believed they were finally yours. Nothing was hidden from him. One of the hardest realities about being chosen for a meaningful purpose is that growth often comes before understanding. Many people want clarity before they trust the process. They want answers before they continue the journey. They want reassurance before they take another step. But life does not always work that way. Sometimes understanding arrives years after the struggle began. Sometimes the lesson only becomes visible after the pain has already done its work. Looking back, many people discover that the seasons they hated most were actually the seasons that prepared them for everything that followed. The rejection taught discernment. The loneliness taught self-respect. The disappointment taught resilience. The delay taught patience. The loss taught gratitude. None of those lessons felt pleasant while they were happening. Yet each one added another layer of wisdom, another layer of strength, another layer of maturity. The chosen often suffer more because they are being prepared for responsibilities that require greater endurance. A person cannot develop deep compassion without understanding pain. A person cannot develop genuine wisdom without experiencing failure. A person cannot become emotionally strong without surviving emotional battles. There is a depth that can only be created through experience. That does not mean suffering is enjoyable. It does not mean every hardship was necessary. It simply means that even the hardest seasons can produce something valuable. Think about all the times you wanted to give up but did not. Think about all the times your heart felt exhausted, but you kept moving forward anyway. Think about all the times life seemed unfair, and yet you continued showing kindness. Those moments matter more than you realize. Some of your greatest victories happened in silence when nobody was watching. The world often celebrates visible success, but many of the most important achievements happen internally. Choosing hope after disappointment is a victory. Choosing faith after heartbreak is a victory. Choosing forgiveness after betrayal is a victory. Choosing to keep going after countless setbacks is a victory. These victories rarely receive applause, yet they reveal extraordinary strength. The fact that you are still standing says more about your strength than you realize. There is a reason so many chosen individuals feel different from those around them. They often carry a vision that others cannot yet see. They feel called toward something deeper. They sense that life must contain more meaning than the routines and distractions that satisfy many people. This creates a tension. They want connection, but they often struggle to find people who truly understand their perspective. They want companionship, but they frequently feel isolated in their experiences. They want encouragement, but they often become the ones providing encouragement instead. Over time, this pattern can become exhausting. You begin to wonder who supports the person who is always supporting everyone else. You begin to wonder who notices the needs of the person who is always noticing the needs of others. Yet even within that loneliness, something remarkable is happening. Strength is developing, character is deepening, wisdom is expanding, compassion is growing. The very experiences that seem to separate you from others are often building qualities that will eventually allow you to help others in profound ways. Not every battle you fought was in vain. Not every tear was wasted. Not every disappointment lacked purpose. Sometimes the greatest transformation happens underground, invisible to everyone except God. Seeds do not become trees overnight. Foundations are built before buildings rise. Preparation often happens in hidden places. Many chosen people spend years feeling invisible because their preparation is occurring where nobody can see it. They wonder why recognition never comes. They wonder why their efforts seem unnoticed. They wonder why their sacrifices appear unrewarded. Yet hidden seasons often produce lasting strength. Public success without private growth can be dangerous. Recognition without maturity can become destructive. Influence without wisdom can become harmful. The chosen are often developed slowly because lasting growth requires time. There is a strength within you that kept moving forward even on your darkest days. There is a resilience within you that survived moments that could have destroyed you. There is a courage within you that continued believing even when evidence seemed scarce. You may not always recognize these qualities because you live with them every day. Yet others would be amazed by what you have endured. Others would be inspired by the battles you survived. Others would see strength where you only see scars. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that suffering determines worth. It does not. Your worth was never determined by your struggles. Your value was never determined by your failures. Your significance was never determined by the opinions of those who misunderstood you. You are worth far more than the moments that tried to make you feel small. The difficult chapters of your story are not the entire story. The painful seasons do not define your destiny. The disappointments do not have the final word. There is still hope ahead. There is still purpose ahead. There is still growth ahead. There is still healing ahead. God has not forgotten you. God has not overlooked your sacrifices. God has not ignored your prayers. Even when answers seem delayed, His awareness of your journey remains complete. Every step matters. Every act of faith matters. Every moment of perseverance matters. The seasons that tested you were also shaping who you were becoming. The burdens you carried developed muscles of resilience that comfort never could have created. The challenges you faced revealed strengths you never knew existed. The losses you survived taught you how precious life truly is. Your story has value even if it did not unfold the way you expected. Your journey matters even if it has taken longer than you hoped. Your life remains meaningful even when progress feels slow. The chosen often suffer more than most people, not because they are less loved, but because they are becoming more capable of carrying wisdom, compassion, and purpose. That process is rarely easy. It often involves seasons of confusion, loneliness, and uncertainty. Yet through it all, something precious is being formed. A stronger heart, a wiser mind, a deeper faith, a more compassionate spirit. And one day, Many of the experiences that seemed meaningless will reveal lessons that changed everything. Until then, remember this. You carried burdens that few people ever noticed. You survived battles that many people never knew existed. You continued walking when giving up would have seemed understandable. Your endurance matters. Your faith matters. Your kindness matters. Your life matters. And no difficult season can erase the value that God placed within you from the very beginning. If these words helped you feel understood and reminded you that your struggles have not been invisible, subscribe to the channel and continue walking alongside others who are seeking faith, healing, purpose, and encouragement. Sometimes the right message arrives exactly when the heart needs it most, and there may be more hope waiting for you in the journey ahead. One of the deepest wounds carried by many chosen people is not the suffering itself, but the feeling that nobody truly understands how much suffering they have endured. Pain becomes even heavier when it remains unseen. You learn how to function while exhausted. You learn how to smile while carrying disappointment. You learn how to comfort others while silently needing comfort yourself. Over time, this becomes such a normal part of life that people begin assuming you are strong all the time. They stop asking how you are doing because they assume you always find a way to handle everything. Yet beneath that appearance of strength, there may have been countless moments when you felt overwhelmed, discouraged, and tired of carrying so much weight alone. The chosen often suffer more because they are entrusted with challenges that force them to discover who they truly are beneath every external label, achievement, relationship, and expectation. Most people spend much of their lives defining themselves through circumstances. When circumstances are favorable, they feel valuable. When circumstances become difficult, they feel diminished. But the chosen are frequently placed in situations where they must learn that their worth exists independently of external conditions. This lesson is rarely easy. In fact, it is often one of the hardest lessons a person can learn. Imagine spending years doing your best, remaining faithful, remaining kind, remaining patient, only to watch others receive recognition while your efforts seem unnoticed. Imagine continuing to give your heart to people only to experience misunderstanding, rejection, or abandonment. Imagine repeatedly believing that your breakthrough is near, only to encounter another delay. Experiences like these can create deep emotional fatigue. They can cause even strong individuals to question themselves. They can make a person wonder whether their efforts truly matter. Yet there is something important that difficult seasons often reveal. They reveal what remains when everything else is stripped away. When applause disappears, character remains. When recognition disappears, integrity remains. When support disappears, faith remains. When certainty disappears, hope remains. The chosen frequently discover strengths they never knew they possessed, because life removes every illusion. That strength comes from external sources alone. They learn that true resilience is built internally. It grows quietly. It develops during ordinary days and difficult nights. It emerges through persistence rather than excitement. Many people assume strength looks dramatic. They imagine strength as a person fearlessly conquering every challenge without emotion. But real strength often looks very different. Real strength is getting out of bed after receiving disappointing news. Real strength is choosing kindness after being hurt. Real strength is refusing bitterness after experiencing unfair treatment. Real strength is continuing to believe that your life has meaning, even when circumstances make that difficult. Some of the strongest people in the world are carrying battles nobody knows about. Some of the strongest people in the world cry in private and still find the courage to keep moving forward. Some of the strongest people in the world have been wounded repeatedly, yet continue offering compassion to others. If you have done that, then you possess a strength far greater than you may realize. One reason the chosen often suffer more is because they are being taught how to endure without losing their hearts. It is easy to remain kind when life is easy. It is easy to remain hopeful when everything goes according to plan. It is easy to remain generous when nothing threatens your peace. The true test comes when circumstances become difficult. The true challenge comes when disappointment arrives. The true measure of character often emerges when life becomes unfair. The chosen are frequently placed in situations that reveal whether they will become bitter or become wiser, whether they will become hardened or become stronger, whether they will abandon their values or remain faithful to them. This process can feel incredibly lonely because growth often requires walking roads that others cannot walk for you. Friends can encourage you. Family can support you. Faith can strengthen you. But there are certain lessons that only personal experience can teach. There are valleys that each person must cross themselves. There are seasons where the only way forward is through. During those moments, it can seem as though God is silent. It can seem as though prayers are unanswered. It can seem as though progress has stopped. Yet silence does not always indicate absence. Sometimes the greatest work is happening beneath the surface. Consider how much of life develops invisibly. Roots grow underground before branches appear above ground. Foundations are completed before structures become visible. Healing often begins internally, before external changes become noticeable. In the same way, many of the most important developments in your life may be occurring where you cannot yet see them. The chosen often become discouraged because they evaluate their progress only by visible outcomes. They focus on what has not happened yet, rather than recognizing who they have become. But growth itself is a form of progress. Wisdom is progress. Emotional healing is progress. Increased patience is progress. Greater compassion is progress. A stronger faith is progress. Sometimes the greatest blessings are not the things you receive, but the person you become. Looking back across your life, there are probably challenges that seemed unbearable at the time, yet somehow you survived them. There were days you believed you could not continue, yet you continued. There were moments when your heart felt shattered, yet healing eventually began. There were disappointments that felt permanent, yet life continued unfolding. Those experiences reveal something powerful. They reveal that you are stronger than the circumstances that tried to defeat you. They reveal that resilience lives within you. They reveal that hope survived even when conditions were unfavorable. God saw the tears that nobody else noticed. God saw the courage hidden behind your quiet persistence. God saw the effort required just to keep believing. Human beings often measure success through visible accomplishments, but heaven notices different things. Heaven notices faithfulness. Heaven notices perseverance. Heaven notices compassion shown during difficult seasons. Heaven notices the quiet victories that never appear in public. The chosen often suffer more because their lives are teaching them to value what truly lasts. Temporary recognition fades. Material success comes and goes. Public approval changes constantly, yet character endures, integrity endures, faith endures, love endures. These are the treasures formed during seasons of struggle. It is understandable if you sometimes feel tired. It is understandable if you occasionally wonder why your path seems harder than the paths of others. It is understandable if certain wounds still ache despite the passing of time. None of those feelings make you weak. They make you human. Strength does not mean never feeling pain. Strength means continuing despite pain. Strength means refusing to allow pain to define your identity. Strength means remembering that your value existed before your struggles began and remains after they end. Many chosen people spend years believing they are falling behind because their journeys look different from those around them. They compare their timelines to someone else's timeline. They compare their struggles to someone else's victories. They compare their delays to someone else's breakthroughs. Yet comparison often hides an important truth. Every person has a unique path. Every person has unique lessons. Every person has a unique purpose. What appears to be delay may actually be preparation. What appears to be loss may actually be redirection. What appears to be failure may actually be growth occurring in disguise. Your story is not behind schedule. Your life is not less valuable because it has involved more struggle. Your future is not determined by your current circumstances. Some of the most meaningful chapters of life begin after seasons that seemed hopeless. Some of the greatest transformations emerge from periods of confusion. Some of the strongest individuals are forged through years of quiet endurance. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are not defined by the people who failed to appreciate you. You are not defined by the opportunities that never materialized. You are defined by the strength, faith, resilience, and character that remained, despite all those experiences. The chosen often suffer more because they are learning how to carry light into dark places. They are learning how to offer understanding because they understand pain. They are learning how to provide hope because they once desperately needed hope themselves. They are learning how to encourage others because they know what discouragement feels like. These lessons come at a cost, but they create extraordinary depth. One day, many of the wounds you survived may become sources of wisdom that help someone else continue their journey. One day, your endurance may inspire another person not to give up. One day, your story may remind someone that difficult seasons do not last forever. Until then, remember that your struggles have not erased your value. Your disappointments have not diminished your worth. Your suffering has not cancelled your purpose. There is still goodness ahead. There is still healing ahead. There is still growth ahead. There is still meaning ahead. And through every challenge, every delay, every unanswered question, and every difficult season, God continues to see the person you are becoming and the strength that has been growing within you all along. If this message brought comfort to your heart and reminded you that your journey still carries meaning, subscribe to the channel and remain connected to messages that encourage faith, healing, resilience, and personal growth. You do not have to walk every difficult season feeling unseen, and there is strength in being part of a community that continues choosing hope. There comes a point in the life of many chosen people when they stop asking why the suffering happened and begin discovering what the suffering produced. This shift does not happen overnight. It usually arrives after years of disappointment, years of unanswered questions, years of carrying burdens that seemed too heavy, and years of wondering whether the struggle would ever end. At first, pain feels like an interruption. It feels like an obstacle standing between you and the life you hope to live. It feels like evidence that something has gone wrong. But with time, wisdom often reveals a different perspective. The very experiences that seem determined to destroy you were also revealing qualities that comfort never could have developed. The loneliness revealed your ability to stand when nobody applauded. The rejection revealed your ability to maintain your value even when others failed to recognize it. The delays revealed your ability to keep believing when immediate results were absent. The hardships revealed your capacity for endurance. The losses revealed your appreciation for what truly matters. None of those lessons were easy. None of them arrived without tears. None of them came without moments when you questioned whether you had enough strength to continue. Yet somehow you continued. Somehow, despite every disappointment, despite every setback, despite every season that seemed impossible, you remained standing. That fact alone deserves recognition. Many people underestimate what it takes to continue moving forward when life repeatedly becomes difficult. They see the person who survived, but never fully understand what survival required. They see the calm expression, but never see the battles that occurred internally. They see the present version of you, without understanding the countless moments that shaped who you became. Yet God saw every chapter. God saw every silent victory. God saw every act of courage that nobody else noticed. God saw the moments when you almost gave up, but chose to keep going. God saw the prayers spoken through tears. God saw the faith that remained even when certainty disappeared. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was ignored. Nothing was forgotten. One of the greatest misconceptions about suffering is the belief that it automatically means life is moving in the wrong direction. Sometimes suffering is simply part of growth. Athletes experience discomfort while developing strength. Builders remove old structures before creating new ones. Farmers understand that certain seasons appear empty before harvest arrives. Life often follows similar patterns. Growth frequently feels uncomfortable because growth requires change. Healing often feels challenging because healing requires confronting wounds. Transformation often feels difficult because transformation involves leaving behind familiar versions of ourselves. The chosen frequently experience these processes more intensely because their lives are teaching them lessons that extend beyond personal comfort. They are learning how to become sources of strength for others. They are learning how to remain compassionate in a world that often rewards indifference. They are learning how to maintain faith when circumstances would justify despair. They are learning how to carry hope into situations that appear hopeless. These qualities cannot simply be handed to a person. They must be developed. They must be tested. They must become real. That process often involves difficulty, yet difficulty does not mean defeat. In fact, some of the most powerful transformations occur during seasons that initially feel unbearable. Think about how many times you believed a chapter of your life represented the end of your story. Think about how many disappointments seemed final. Think about how many setbacks appeared permanent. Then remember what happened. Life continued. New opportunities emerged. New lessons appeared. New strength developed. New hope eventually returned. The story did not end where you thought it would. This pattern reveals something important. Human beings often evaluate their lives using incomplete information. We see one chapter and assume it represents the entire book. We experience one difficult season and assume it will last forever. We encounter one painful disappointment and assume nothing good can follow it. Yet life repeatedly demonstrates that current circumstances rarely tell the whole story. There is often more happening than we can see. There is often preparation occurring behind the scenes. There is often growth developing beneath the surface. Many chosen individuals become discouraged because they focus primarily on what they lost. They remember the relationships that ended, the opportunities that disappeared, the dreams that did not unfold as expected. Those losses are real and the pain attached to them is real. Yet there is another side of the story. There is the wisdom you gained. There is the resilience you developed. There is the faith you strengthened. There is the maturity you acquired. There is the compassion you cultivated. There is the courage that emerged from surviving experiences you never wanted to face. Those gifts matter. They are part of your story too. You carried burdens that few people ever noticed. You endured seasons that many people would never fully understand. You learned how to continue functioning while carrying emotional weight that remained invisible to almost everyone around you. That is not weakness. That is evidence of extraordinary endurance. Sometimes chosen people become so accustomed to carrying responsibility that they forget how much they have actually survived. They minimize their struggles because surviving became normal. They dismiss their victories because persistence became routine. They overlook their growth because it happened gradually. Yet when viewed honestly, their journeys reveal remarkable strength. The fact that you are still here matters. The fact that you still care matters. The fact that you still hope matters. The fact that you still seek purpose matters. Those things are not small accomplishments. They are evidence of a resilient spirit. There is a strength within you that kept moving forward even on your darkest days. There is a faith within you that refused to disappear completely, even when circumstances challenged it. There is a value within you that remains unchanged regardless of how others treated you. The world may have overlooked certain parts of your journey, but that does not diminish their significance. Your worth was never dependent upon recognition. Your value was never dependent upon approval. Your importance was never dependent upon public acknowledgement. You were valuable before the struggles began, and you remain valuable after surviving them. The chosen often suffer more than most people because they are learning how to build their identity on something deeper than circumstances. They are learning how to recognize their worth even when others fail to recognize it. They are learning how to trust that difficult seasons do not determine final outcomes. They are learning how to maintain hope while walking through uncertainty. These lessons create a quiet strength that cannot be manufactured. It comes only through experience. It comes only through perseverance. It comes only through continuing when quitting would have been easier. One day, many of the questions that trouble you now may make more sense. One day, certain disappointments may reveal unexpected purpose. One day, some of the struggles that felt meaningless may reveal lessons that shaped your future in ways you never anticipated. Until then, hold on to this truth. Your suffering does not define your destiny. Your pain does not determine your value. Your difficult seasons do not erase your purpose. God has not forgotten you. God has not abandoned you. God has not overlooked your sacrifices. The tears that nobody else noticed were noticed by Him. The prayers that seemed unanswered were heard by Him. The courage required to keep moving forward was seen by Him. The kindness you continued showing despite your own wounds was seen by Him. The faith you maintained during difficult seasons was seen by Him. Nothing has been invisible, nothing has been meaningless, nothing has been beyond His awareness. Your story still carries value, your life still carries purpose, your future still carries possibility. The road may have been difficult, but difficulty is not the final chapter. The pain may have been real, but pain is not the final chapter. The loneliness may have been real, but loneliness is not the final chapter. There is still hope ahead. There is still healing ahead. There is still growth ahead. There are still blessings ahead. Most importantly, there is still a reason to believe that everything you endured helped shape a stronger, wiser, more compassionate version of yourself. Not every battle you fought was in vain. Not every tear was wasted. Not every setback was meaningless. The seasons that tested you were also shaping who you were becoming. And the person emerging from those seasons possesses a strength, depth, and resilience that only a long journey can create. If this message encouraged your heart and reminded you that your struggles have never diminished your worth, subscribe to the channel and continue receiving messages that strengthen faith, inspire healing, and encourage personal growth. Your journey matters, your perseverance matters, and there is comfort in walking alongside others who understand the value of hope, purpose, and enduring strength.